coming extremely soon as Consulate starts right now.
Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Our second match of the Alpha stream here. Quick reminder as well, we still have plenty more action going on over on our Bravo stream. So if you're interested in checking it out, you can go ahead over to the stream over at twitch.tv/rainbow6. That's the number 6, not spelled out, Bravo. Let's get into it though, as the bans are getting started right now as we get into the second map.
All right, Consulate. Let's see what we're trying to deal with here. A very unique band starting us off, but one that does make sense with the meta. Yana going to be removed. And I really like this from Team 1. We obviously just recently watched the clubhouse between BDS and Cyclops, and this was the primary pick for Shaiiko. And honestly, I love this pick for him just because of how strong the RX is.
The second ban, not going to be too surprising here, is Thatcher once again going to be the obvious operator to be removed from the pool here. Still far too universally useful for any attacking composition, so makes sense to remove him. And oh, things are going to get a little crazy here as well for BDS. They're going to ban out Jaeger, another operator that is universally used across pretty much most defensive compositions these days. However, obviously, since back that both teams will usually want to use it, it's very rarely banned out. So this will obviously throw a very interesting wrinkle into the matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to be seeing anything from Jaeger inside of this one, but that obviously sets our other two throwable denial operators up to a higher rate. We'll see what they want to try and bring in with that, but more than likely going to be seeing quite a bit of Wamai inside of this matchup. Mute going to close it out as Team 1's ban, and very unique bans across the board. Obviously, Thatcher the one making the most sense, but the other one's unique in their own way, and not strong. That's the thing coming in here, especially when it comes to Consulate. I'm loving this Mute ban.
All right, well, let's see how this all plays out. Very interesting bans coming out between both teams here that should hopefully give us some pretty interesting compositions once we get into the rounds themselves. Team 1, though, will be on the defense. They get the site choice. They're going to be heading to the split site. Yeah, they're going to be heading to split site right off the bat here. A big surprise right from the beginning, and as well, what do we have here, Stokes?
We have 4 soft breachers, John. That's what we have. We have the entire arsenal of soft breach that you can possibly deploy on offense. This is going to be pretty entertaining. You know, obviously with Consulate, soft destruction is one of the important tools that you're going to be trying to abuse throughout the entirety of this map. There's a lot of different areas in which you can abuse that, so be seeing for, looking for that across the board here for the offense, especially when it comes to the split site in which Team 1 will be starting off on.
Team 1 once again here going to be extending upstairs into the second floor extension play here, mainly over into the offices just to try and waste all that time away from BDS as they'll be going for those early clears in that direction, that top-down angle over this room here that Levy is currently reinforcing, is going to be very, very important for the attackers to try and take control of if they want to try and get access to the upstairs site with any sort of speed whatsoever. So that's why you're going to see Team 1 putting a whole lot of emphasis on defending it themselves.
Yeah, interesting lineups as well here for Levy. He's going to bust open the bottom of the windows here, so that means that they're more than likely going to want to play the admin area. So pretty unique in the way of handling that, but we'll see if it works out for them. But across the fence, BDS are out and onto the field, so they'll begin their clear of the map. But for Team 1, I'm really enjoying the overall strategy here. The only thing that obviously could be a thorn in their side is that Jaeger band coming in and making it to where they can't use him for some of these more risque positions.
Still going to leave some potential for mitigation, though, in operators like Wamai and whatnot, as they were not banned out. So not completely out of the mix when it comes to grenade and the ability to deal with those grenades. But we'll see that in later rounds. Obviously, Team 1 did not bring any of that to the fold, save for the Aruni, which is what they're going to be currently using as the main bulk of that. Shaiiko, already with some positions getting hot pinged on the inside of the offices here. He'll continue to try to play this out for himself. Alamau as well. Only the one on the other side of that, but only one of 2 that are currently positioned here. Alamau quickly losing control over his position, though. Might have to fall back relatively soon. We can see KDS has already committed himself away from admin there and is going to fall back towards Copier.
All right, BDS with a solid clear so far, coming in from CEO and starting to apply pressure to the top hold here for Team 1, as they should. KDS, obviously forward inside of admin. He's going to have a friend in tow here. It's going to be Alamau. So they're continuing to hold down the top floor. Levy will lose his life inside of the admin stairwell as Renshiro will at least get a double here. Not able to get the refrag though, but Neskin finally hops too. He'll come back and be able to at least take him down, but that's not going to even things up just yet. Alamau needs to take down at least one more person, but the issue is now so much pressure up top. He's going to have to make it worth his while. So many bullets starting to come in. They have great intel on it as, oh well, also a lit up player outside, but RaFaLe is going to trade out with Neskin, knocking us down into the 3v2.
So much aggression from Alamau Alemzje and just Team 1 in general here to try to get their frags back. It seems to be working though. Alemzje, what a steal. Takes Shaiiko out. We still on mid rappel. BriD does make it through and gets to the inside of admin, but look at the player count. He's now alone in the 1v2, and Alemzje does it again for one final kill against BriD. What a start for Team 1. After faltering in the early round, they rebound beautifully with this admin hold.
Oh, you already hear that LATAM energy behind us, John. It's land, baby, and they're ready to play. Beautiful hold upstairs, and the refrag capability of Team 1 being shown, as well as the regular prowess that we would already expect. Fantastic stuff from them overall, but now they've got to prove it to us time and time again. We still have 5 rounds on this defense before we transition. Now going to Cafeteria Garage, and this is looking like an overall solid setup, and also a regular criminal face that we see for this Team 1 lineup when it comes to Consulate. Echo coming into play.
Yeah, Echo coming into the picture here. We should overall see a much more passive composition this time from Team 1. Not going to be able to swing out as aggressively on this type of a site defense, and what they will do will have to be somewhat restrained, and more importantly, they'll have to leave options open to rotate those players back into the site in a late round situation. As we've seen many, many times in the past with many, many different teams, you try to play out this site too much or for too long into the round, you lose too many players, ending up going down to a 5v3 or a 5v2. You just don't have enough left in the actual basement to defend the site because there's so many ways for the attackers to get access. By that point in the round, they're normally going to have most of those under their control. So let's see how Team 1 will choose to deal with this type of site.
Yeah, it's going to be priority into piano, as we all know, trying to clear out that area, but Team 1 want to try and get in the way of that. You can already see this from the reinforcement setup, as well as what they're going to try and do with their roam game overall. It's going to be an attempt to try and delay as much as possible and just try and slow down BDS. And this is something that we saw inside of the previous map as well from Cyclops, where there was a few opportunities for them to actually get that done. So this is more than likely going to be a positive note for Team 1.
Time starts to tick down a little bit here. BDS will take their time with things. They'll be approaching mainly yellow to start things out. More likely this is just an avenue for them to get to other parts of the map as they all stick together and make sure Team 1 don't try to throw any trickery at them from the windows, as much like our last map as we were seeing happening there for Cyclops. If you saw our first map today, there's quite a few windows on this map to try and do some tricky stuff as well, as we just saw there with the Nitro Cell getting tossed out the window, unfortunately way off base, not going to be even close to anyone on BDS, but BDS will still be making some forward momentum regardless as they make very quick work of the triple panel down below, blocking access to the garage.
Okay, we can already see the breakup of BDS's top floor take here. You see RaFaLe repelled on the bathroom window. He's going to end up breaking things open, so he'll be able to at least have a counter angle here for Connector up top. But besides that point, Team 1 really only having a single body up top, and they're going to lose that as Levy goes down inside of Long Desk. This is going to open up the opportunity for BDS to start applying pressure to this mid floor, but I believe they still have one person to worry about, and yes, indeed they do. But Elemzje, one floor higher here, as well as some holes in the floor to be able to counter out the anti-chamber player Neskin currently, as Alemzje finds yet another one here. Nitro goes up, it'll deal some damage to Elemzje, but Neskin, can he get the shots? He will. Elemzje now down, and once again, Team 1 jump ahead.
Team 1, great presence here once again through their aggressive frag work. Able to get out into the face of BDS, usually win the fights, and keep their player count up and running. Struggled with it a little bit in that last round there because they over-aggressed onto a few players, and I believe it was RaFaLe that was able to control the large majority of those kills in the early round. But this time, not going to be as much of an issue, at least within the first 2 minutes. Team 1 now, continuing to waste the time. BDS, you can see, stuck to themselves, trying to figure out what to do. They're going to start out with a little bit of aggression. That's going to be RaFaLe trying to push in against the piano hold, but it won't work out. RaFaLe has to back away, goes upstairs instead, and is going to try to get a top-down angle against Neskin.
BDS are trying to work this as intelligently as they can, but Team 1 are doing such a good job of being able to hold on to map control. It's making all of this so very difficult, and they have to try and find an answer soon. Otherwise, this is more than likely going to be another Team 1 round. KDS currently standing inside of Zed, holding things down currently. I believe they've also rotated out Neskin as he's went back downstairs, and it's more than likely KDS going to be joining him. And no, Neskin's still holding on to piano. Also Renshiro getting lit up all the way from Spiral. It's an angle that you don't see very often, but now BDS attempt for the plant. It's going to be going down on white. Does BriD stick it? He does not. He's going to move out instead, and now the Yokai here as well. RaFaLe gets a kill for his pleasure, knocking it down into the 3v3. Make it a 3v2 as BriD will take down yet another one. Alemzje chucking these smokes as much as possible. He gets the head as well. well of the thermite. So case down, only 10 seconds remaining, and BDS need to hop inside of the site. Renshiro will be able to pick up at least the case and start this yet again here, but they have to try and figure out how to stop this from going down. Renshiro will get the plant. Alamau on a triple now, not the quad, as he'll lose out the gunfight initially to Renshiro, and he's got so many bullets inside of this LMG, he's not even gonna have to slap a new mag. Instead, he transitions over to Black Car. He sees the transition to white as well, and he wins it. Renshiro, ice in the man's veins. Insane round from him.
Just like the first round, man, so close. Coming down to the wire, coming down to a 1v1 between those two final players right there. You really got to give credit for BriD.BDS as well. He picks up such an important kill after having to hop off of his first attempt to plant the case down inside his site there. Not only does he obviously just pick up another kill there, saving his own life, but he also killed the Echo in that situation, which prevented another yokai drone pop from going off and stopping the secondary plant attempt from going down. Yes, they still had the gas grenades to deny it one more time, but after that, they were finally out of utility, and BDS had just enough to be able to get the plant down onto the ground and clutch out the 1v1.
Yeah,
1v2, actually.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And, you know, like, could have been a 2v2, but, I mean, I honestly feel like RaFaLe's play was almost, I understand, first things first, but, like, almost necessary that he kind of dies in that goofy way. Like, drop down, everyone transitions, like, oh my gosh, he's dropping hatch, we have to kill him. And it just allows enough time for that plant to go down from Renshiro and put him inside of that situation. It just fantastic stuff. So anyways, BDS Team 1 so far, it seems like they're match for match, punch for punch.
So close between these two teams here. Surprised actually the Team 1 don't go for another basement attempt, considering just how close that round was to being won by them up till the very bitter end of it, where they were unable to stop the case plant for that final time going down there. Either way though, Team 1 going to continue onwards. They're now going for the lobby hold. Another one where we're going to have to see a little bit of a different take from the defense, and that's oftentimes what you need to bring out here for Consulate, is a whole breadth of different strategies and different play styles to defend these very different sites. This one is another one where you have to extend out and play to that extension for a large majority of the round, given you have very limited space to work with on the site itself that will be safe to play should the attackers try to go all in.
Yeah, and there's a lot of priority across this map as well for the offense as to what they needed to be cognizant of, and it's not only projector and what's going on with this top hold here with Alamau currently inside a connector, but it's also what's happening inside of the basement. If they end up transitioning into that and having these hatches open, then BDS are obviously going to have to be attentive to the Nitro Cell game that could possibly come through. But either way, very early beginnings inside of round 3 thus far. Not very many changes on the BDS side either. Still prioritizing a lot of soft breach in this operator lineup. They'll be working the building from the east to the west, starting things off inside of admin and pushing across.
45 seconds gone for the round here. BDS still taking their time, but Elem's going to be the first to hop in for himself, swinging for admin control behind Shaiiko as well, as he's also going to be able to move in and support. No initial resistance will be here from Team 1. They'll be able to take this control for free. Also, top-down angle will be opened up there for BDS. Shaiiko, though, moving forward, will be starting to approach enemy territory, and Alamau just not ready for that bit of aggression there. Shaiiko walks right up to the laser gate and shuts down the defense.
Fantastic stuff from Shaiiko, but now Team 1 have to fire back, and it looks like it might be KDS up to the bat first. Oh, beautiful shots, but not able to get the heady like he wants to. Oh, what a shot. Renshiro tries to slide back across the windows, but it was ill-advised as he'll lose his life. KDS will be able to pop the hatch open and make it to where the rest of Team 1, if they get in a pickle, are able to slide down to the basement.
Team 1 restoring a little bit of control over the round with that most recent pickup there against Renshiro. KDS also able to survive the encounter, make it back to a bottom yellow position, where BDS are going to have to try and hunt him down at some point later in the round. BDS, as you can see, are continuing on with their upstairs clear now that they've obviously forced KDS out with that trade, but still, a lot more setup needing to be done before they're going to feel safe to go down. They still have to deal with the extended hold on the inside of the bathroom, as well as anyone that might still be roaming around on the other side of the map as well. Shaiiko continuing to play out of those top-down angles, but won't find anything, and I believe he's going to be the first to start traversing down to the first floor and beginning to put the pressure on the hold itself.
Yeah, BDS are trying their best to constrict the rotations of Team 1, but they've been abusing Consulate to its fullest with these hatches, able to transition through all of the floors and really bring it to BDS, and that's how we've reached this point inside of round 3. Not too much has happened past those initial frags. We're down to 35 seconds here as BDS try to find a place to plant this case. Elemz still holding things down when it comes to these vertical angles, most notably for bathroom. He's trying to make sure that no one can get out of here. They also have quite a few angles, in fact, set up for piano, but instead priority is going to be inside of circle. The nitro cells are set up here. Do they see exactly where he is? They do. The yokai drone will not be able to find any use, but obviously that nitro's still there. Did they get the mark out? That's the biggest thing. BriD.BDS halfway through this one. KDS finally springs too. He'll take down RaFaLe, but can he win it out on the other end? No, Shaiiko's already made his move. BriD.BDS now re-attempting this plan, but all of the kills, my God, Elemzje and the rest of BDS light up the kill feed.
What a setup there for the folks on BDS. Was looking dire for them as well. Obviously, we had that unfortunate mishap with the grenade on the hatch right there, so they were definitely looking to use that to deal with the utility on site and get that plant out much sooner. But even despite that, setting up just an absolute matrix. Some of the same things that they were doing against Cyclops in their last matchup there, where if we saw any aggression whatsoever from Team 1, they would have the counters, they would have the angles to immediately take those players down on the top-down angles. And it works out perfectly, as we see there. The whole kill feed, just a sea of blue at the end of the round.
They are not afraid to use this timer to make sure things are set up properly, and that's what I'm loving right now from this BDS squad, because they're going to need this. Otherwise, Team 1 are going to run away with this. Their fragging power is so very strong, and they've proven it time and time again inside of these 3 rounds that they're able to take it to BDS and make this job extremely difficult for them. So as long as BDS respects that and continues to push forward in the way that they are right now, this is more than likely going to be a very successful offense. But now we go back to where they had issues originally, and it's going to be the split site here for Team 1, which means they've got to fight Elemzje.
Yep. Team 1 once again going to get a chance to traverse back onto this site where we've already seen success from them, but it was so limited, it was so close, and once again, it was mainly, as you said, due to the heroics from Elemzje sitting inside of admin there. Had they been able to clear him out earlier on in the round, probably would have gone handily into BDS's control, because all of the other players on Team 1 that had tried to get aggressive, especially around the Visa stairs going back down to the first floor, faltered because of an over-aggression against RaFaLe, where he was able to go 2 for 1, and more players faltering a few moments after that too. But Team 1, once again, a team that is very well constrained with their aggression, so they'll know how to handle this after seeing the way things went in the last round. Elemzje already starting to get aggressive here too. Did have the right spawn line up there, just unfortunately not going to be able to catch any of the players from BDS as the waltz out past him far too quickly.
All right, well, extension out towards the west here for Team 1. Just make sure to get in front of BDS no matter where they try and enter the building at. But it is indeed going to be this side. KDS, pretty unique position here that could find him in hot water if this goes the wrong way. But also some opportunities if he wants to take them. Possibly you see a high-flying act out of this bathroom window, but obviously be an incorrect call as well. But either way, Team 1 will be holding onto this top floor for the time being, and KDS and RaFaLe in a dance on this window right now. KDS pre-fires, he's going to get lit down to 1 HP. He'll transition over into the stalls area of the bathroom, a stun in. The Buck able to handle it with a skeleton key. KDS tries to get him on the swing, but RaFaLe just too damn clean.
It's just so futile there from KDS, it seems, as he tries to
run
what
are you going to do at that point?
Just seemingly accepting his death at that point in the round from the looks of it there. But KDS trying to make an attempt to get as much damage onto RaFaLe as possible. Like we saw, though, only about 25, just 1 notch of his HP going to be dealt with. Levy also trying to get aggressive now against the position from RaFaLe, and it's going to force him out of the building one more time there. He'll have to hop back down. Stay safe, though. Doesn't take any additional damage, but that's all the second floor control now going away. However, Shaiiko getting some important intel on the player hanging out over here by Connector. Really commit to the swing, though. He knows for a fact this player's around the corner. It's going to be Elemzje, though. Such a dangerous element. The drone coming in, though, to figure out where Shaiiko is, but it won't make a difference. Shaiiko still too ready for the fight versus Elemzje, and that's 2 now on the board for BDS. No trades for Team 1 yet.
Elemzje puts a bullet, Elemzje puts a bullet right over his head. Just 1 tracer too high there, and RaFaLe's also going to get Neskin. Finally, though, somebody on Team 1 is able to stoke the flames as Levy finds 2 big frags that were a necessity given the moment. Down to a minute now, though, he's made things a touch easier for himself as well as Lagonis. RaFaLe, though, lots of damage on Lagonis now. He's not going to be able to transition back downstairs. Ill-advised from him on that rotation as he'll lose his life. But now Levy onto a triple kill. Won't be able to take down BriD.BDS either. And John, it seems to be happening to Team 1. Only 1 player truthfully allowed to do things per round.
It's that early control that continuously seems to come out every single round here from BDS. We were starting to see the same thing happen in their matchup versus CAG. To a bit of a lesser extent, BDS had to be a bit more cautious, I think, because of just the absolute raw aggression we were getting from Cyclops. But this time, BDS has a much better idea of what to expect from Team 1, so they're locking down players early on in the round with no issues whatsoever. And then in the cases of that last round and what we saw back on the first, trying to just trade their way to a victory. And for the large majority of these rounds, it's been working out.
Absolutely. And, for Team 1, this is really going to centralize around their refrag capability. I believe BDS is going to be hard to try and lock down, especially when it comes to how console plays usually. They're doing a very good job of breaking up this map, and I really like, I really love the Buck block play here. They've done a very good job of putting RaFaLe in positions to where he can be extremely impactful. He's starting to make these crosses where it's difficult for Team 1 to move around the map in the way that they want to. And like you were talking about earlier, it's the offensive matrix, not the defensive matrix, that's working out extremely well.
And that's the problem here right now. Team 1 can't seem to restrict the early control for BDS, which is allowing them to set up that matrix and really make most of the rest of the bits of aggression we would get at a Team 1 when there's a plant attempt a bit pointless, because they have all of these things covered by that point in the round here. So maybe more aggression might be what we need here from Team 1 to get in the way of BDS and stop them from making that additional momentum again. Either way, though, we'll find out in a second here. BDS is spawning. It's time to see if they can continue their rampage on the attacking side of Consulate.
Yes, indeed. No transitions when it comes to operators. Here for the offense is, well, they've been able to get anything done that they possibly need, and it's been fantastic so far for them. So I'm assuming that this is going to continue. BDS obviously out onto the field now as they're 20 seconds into the 5th round here. They want to try and figure out exactly how they want to handle this setup that Team 1 have going on. And currently it's fairly straightforward. We've got Neskin inside of the bathroom area on the mid floor. He'll be holding things down and making sure that BDS don't get piano as easily as they could originally. So for Team 1, it's mostly prioritizing this control inside of this space, which could obviously lead to Team BDS having some issues with their case plan.
You can see again BDS starting to set up that matrix. Obviously very early days in it right now, but it starts with RaFaLe on the window repel.
Same spot always too.
Renshiro also helping out there on the yellow window position with 2 to 3 more players ready to burst in nearby positions should the opportunity arise where they feel they're going to be able to do that. I think we've hit that point. We can see RaFaLe starting to work his way in. Shaiiko seems confident for the yellow push. In goes Elemzje. There's no resistance on this part of the upstairs part of the map for Team 1, so they are going to be able to walk in. It's not until they transition down to areas like the piano area where they're going to have to deal with that extended bathroom play that they'll really be slowed down by the setup from Team 1.
This is so weird that Team 1 are playing so far back when they have Neskin here to hold down piano and prevent these vertical angles. It feels like they should be playing farther forward in the way of trying to prevent BDS from getting any garage control at all. But obviously there's a lot of different ways that BDS can handle this, so Team 1 more than likely just being aware of anything that could possibly go on. They want the solid information first, not the other way around. But now BriD starting to put the plant down. It's going to be smokes out. He'll have to transition back outside, but not before Renshiro's able to pick up one. He's going to get finally taken down from that toxic plume, and his Alamo will pick up the frag.
Try to want down the rotate and catches it with perfect timing as well. Neskin down to that. That will clear out most of the first floor resistance. In fact, I think it's all of it now. So you only have the site setup for Team 1 to deal with and the rest of the remaining utility to bleed out. The good news as well, Lagonis just went down, so they don't have to worry about Yokais coming into this. They just have to burn out the rest of the smokes. But the problem is they're continuing to lose players as they shuffle in. This time not even going down to a toxic babe, just getting fragged out in the middle of the site there. 3v3 will be the score that we approach here now, though. Levy, excuse me, taking some damage there. No serious amount, though, and he's able to fall back to safe quarters relatively quickly. BDS, a little stuck now. They don't have as much control as they've usually had in previous rounds. They're going to have to just make a bout for this. Drone intel is available if they want to try and throw that in there, but no, they're walking right into the setup from Team 1. KDS, an easy shot against Elemzje, brings it down to a 3v2, and those final 2 players now split up. As you hear, though, with the timer, only a few seconds remaining to work your way forward. Also, only having as well that one toxic babe they can deny once again, and Team 1 ultimately shuts it down.
Fantastic stuff from there from Team 1, and obviously now seeing why they're playing so far back there. Those angles really, really oppressive when it came to that side of White Van. But great round from them overall, but it's a long road ahead of them when it comes down to it. As for BDS, though, I really, really do not appreciate what they did with the case there. It was really bad. The fact that you're trying to push that and put it in such a poor position, and now you have to try and go get it again, that's the worst case scenario that you could possibly put yourself in. Legitimately, it would more than likely be a better play to bait out the utility on White Van, keep transitioning out of the wall, and just hold the angles from the other areas that they already were. They already had the players there to be able to hold the breach. I don't understand why you're trying to force the plant down in such harsh environments.
Bit of a gaff there for sure, especially considering what happened with BriD. We saw him trying to go out, but I think he just mistimed his escape there by about a half second or so, which led to his death.
That plume got him, man. It just it was a perfect amount right outside the breach. And
so I think he was expecting, obviously, for that not to happen. Had that have been the case, they could have continued to bait out the utility, as was the original plan. But yeah, things definitely got way too chaotic for them after the unfortunate loss of BriD and the fact that they didn't have that consistent hard breacher that they've had on previous rounds to go in and play for them.
Well, last round here for the half in between BDS and Team 1. BDS currently up 3-2, obviously have the opportunity to jump ahead to 4-2, but not before Team 1 can obviously tie things up here before they transition into their offensive side. We're going to be handling things upstairs for our very last round here. A site that we don't see too often, but one that we're starting to see more of now, mostly because how often Consulate has been played. People are trying to expand the sites in which they play, and this is one of the ones that has worked its way back. And back in the day, it used to be the #1 bomb site. Everybody played this first, and then you went back through everything else. But since adding Split and everything and all these other sites that were a little easier to defend, kind of worked its way back out. But obviously, like we were talking about before, it comes in every once in a while, so we'll see how BDS want to handle it. They're going to be starting things off on the east side, so a very standard take when it comes to this site.
Let's see here now for BDS, taking their time about things, trying to be cautious here, as for the first time in that last round, they had a lot of problems getting the initial control, which they've been able to control for themselves with relative ease up until that point. Not to mention, of course, we have the actual second floor being the target of the attack this time, so there'll be a little bit more delay of BDS taking control of any rooms up here just because they know.
Did you say BDS takes it? Is that what you said? Did Jacob pay you? Be honest.
No, complete accident.
Oh, okay, all right.
Complete accident.
Dude, you should have got paid.
Slip of the tongue. Slip of the tongue.
But either way, though, Team 1 with an extension across both of Console and Alamau. Very forward position inside of lobby. Neskin also rocking the stairwell over here on the admin side. Shaiiko, though, has an opportunity, but oh, just a little bit too late on the transition there. But either way, though, still solid map control for them, as Renshiro will also be working Suicide Balcony in quite the scary way. I always get very, very scared when anyone is actually standing on this thing inside of a 5v5. All it takes is one nitro cell, or
right there.
It's just so worrying. But I mean, BDS have handled this side of the map so very well, and have made it to where projector is looking right for the taking.
It's a passive hold right now on projector here for Team 1. It's not what we usually see. Normally, there's at least one player hard committed to the inside to make sure that the attackers, in this case BDS, cannot be able to just flood in and overwhelm it. BDS are trying to figure out exactly what the offsite presence looks like right now, because they're certainly going to be a bit more cautious now that they've seen that, okay, this site is empty. That clearly means they have some semblance of support set up for it here. We can see Levy getting droned out here and having a good matrix himself to play off of.
We'll talk about that bulletproof a little bit later on as we are into the last minute, but that's pretty cool if you guys ended up catching it on stream. But either way, though, BDS have already broken up projector. You can see the holes to the back here that are making things a heck of a lot more difficult to play this space. So instead, they won't be progressing forward here and looking for this plant. Elem's trying to push up long desk. RaFaLe will get one, but they need some place in order to plant this case down. Elem's, a nice flick back, but not able to get the kill. KDS getting lit up, also Neskin down. Most of Team 1, though, centralized around yellow. Renshiro also with a pick. The crossfire is just so very difficult to fight back against. Alamau starting to take a lot of damage as well as the case starts to go down. Lagonis inside of bathroom starting to get lit up as well, but it just doesn't seem like there's any opportunity for them to try and fight back. Long desk still being occupied, and it's going to be a flawless round for BDS. 4-2 on the half.
Another perfect one there coming out from BDS, and a lot of that is due to the fact that, once again, similarly to rounds in the past where it has worked for them, but it's been very hit or miss. Team 1 hard commits to the aggression, swings out against multiple members of BDS, and as you see right there, pays the price for it. I say the same thing that I'm going to say now in the CAG matchup. BDS is ready for that type of play. They are having all this intel prep for themselves. They're setting themselves up specifically for these types of plays to come at them, and every single time it's thrown at them by the defenders, they're countering it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing apart from that as well for BDS is that Team 1 are allowing them to get too much space early on, and it makes it so very difficult to fight back. You guys have the ability to get in BDS's faces very early on. Now, the biggest thing here, and the reason that I feel like we are on Consulate in between those two maps, is not only because of what we saw, obviously, statistics-wise, but also because BDS can abuse Team 1 in this way. It's very difficult to try and fight back because of the way Consulate plays out with not only the windows, but with the vertical play as well. We saw BDS abusing that earlier on when, Team 1 were trying to occupy space like piano and stuff like that, and they just took the top floor and started applying pressure. It's difficult to try and operate around those parameters.
Definitely needed to see a little bit more aggression in the early round from Team 1. That was the aggression we did see was thrown out when, like I said many times already, when Team BDS was already well primed to fend off that type of aggression there, as we saw in the late round of round number 6 just there, as well as in round number 1, which, like I said, Team 1 were ultimately able to trade that one towards a win, but it was certainly getting dodgy for a moment, especially as RaFaL picked up those kills in the mid-round. We can now switch sides, though. It's going to be a little bit of a different take. Team 1 don't have to worry about those defensive side issues, at least for the rest of this matchup here, but they do need to make sure they bring a strong attack to the table. It's a 4-2 lead on the attacking side, and from BDS is going to be certainly a happy half for them to build off.
Absolutely. Team 1 with a large difference in ideals when it comes to their offensive lineup as well. You'll see the Ash as well as the Sledge still in here. Lagonis going to be bringing the Thermite as well that we saw from BDS, but Nomad and IQ up to the plate now here for Team 1. Obviously switching off of Sam Fisher 0, which is one of the priority operators that we see Team 1 bring on this map, but he's not going to be inside of at least this lineup. And this is a pretty unique lineup overall. I really want to see how much traction they get out of Alamo's IQ pick, as they're going to be blowing open the garage very, very early on here, and not in the traditional fashion either. They're going to go right for the center panel and pop that, so you're walking right into equality in between the two cars.
Still, though, once again, very, very slow approach for both of these teams. Neither one wanting to make the mistake. BDS certainly having some confidence placed for them, though, so we might start to see that. We can already see Shaiiko trying to challenge the opening of the garage just to make sure Team 1 are trying to take that control super early on here. For the rest of BDS, they'll simply just sit back and get prepared. They still have the extended position upstairs inside of the bathroom. I believe a few more lurking out and about as well. But Team 1's made quick work, I believe, of the second floor clear, already dealing with that and fully droning it out to find nothing from BDS there. So they'll waltz in, do one final check of the actual walk around, and now start to deal with the top-down pressure leading into piano, as well as that extended hold of the bathroom.
Well, easy going so far for Team 1, and a pick onto BriD as well. That handles the bathroom player. That's actually huge for them. This is going to make it to where piano is a lot easier to actually pallet here. So they'll be able to take control of that anytime soon and start dealing with a lot of the utility that's built up inside of the garage area. So much stuff around that to make it to where Shaiiko can possibly get some gunfights going in his favor, especially with those Banshees placed around and those two deployable shields. You can see Pipes is completely set up for that positioning. Shaiiko, though, gonna get aggressive. Might end up waltzing into a kill here. Oh, it's gonna be a pre-fire out, and Shaiko's gonna take about 50 HP's worth of damage.
Shaiiko continuing to stay alive, though, continuing to hold a very aggressive position against what's going to be the push from Team 1 here. Wants to get in the way, wants to cause problems, wants to slow down this attack, because Team 1 are inching very, very close to being able to execute on this site here, and there's still a lot of time remaining on the clock here that BDS will have to try and burn out or in some way overcome in terms of fragging power over these next few seconds. Nitro goes off, will deal a massive amount of damage, and Shaiiko will be found out from the back lane as well. That's Levy finding that kill from all the way on top of the Visa stairs. Another one falls for BDS. Team 1 still at full strength with 5 players alive. BDS have the cutoff secured, but with limited playing power, there's going to have to be multi-frags from a lot of these players on the attack. And no! The instant Elemz tries to get aggressive, he is shut down by Lagonis. The plant seemingly assured now. Renshiro finally starting to trade this back a little bit as he takes down KDS, but that's such a small gesture at this point.
Oh no, Renshiro positioning into the post plant now. He can't get the frag onto the Thermite either, and Neskin gets him from upstairs off the vertical angle. It's all down to RaFaL now, which will more than likely fall soon, and that's exactly going to be the case. Levy pushes it back stairs, and what a fantastic round there from Team 1. A very stark contrast to what they were doing on defense.
Yeah, very solid round coming out there as well to start things out inside of the second half. Definitely what Team 1 needed to get themselves onto a quick rebound here, and thankfully, because it was a 4-2 half, not a 5-1, that puts them only one more point away from being able to immediately tie things up and keep them in this matchup. So we'll see now what BDS will shift towards, is they're going to go towards the first floor hold here, lobby and press hold next, instead of going either upstairs or towards the split, as we saw Team 1 do.
Also going to be getting Wamai in here for, I believe, the second time that we've seen him inside of this game overall. Team 1, especially on defense, not prioritizing anybody when it came to throwable prevention. We saw Rooney a little bit, but that was mostly due in part to the split site, how they wanted to hold onto the windows, and she's very, very good for stuff like that, forcing the offense to burn, as well as possibly get a reset on those and make it where they have to swing through and take some damage. So it was a solid thing to be bringing along to the table. But for this one, we're going to be going back to basics with the Wamai, and across the board, this is looking quite solid for a setup here inside of the lobby. And I just want to remind you guys once again that inside of the store right now, inside of Rainbow Six Siege, we have a bunch of esports skins. You guys have got to go look at them. They are so beautiful, and they also support all of the team. So make sure to go check those out.
The reason why we're probably seeing Wamai being brought back into the fold here, once again, keep in mind Jaeger banned out, so we're not going to be able to see him be useful. And Jaeger is, I will be real with you, very useful on this map with so many of these extended...
He's just useful.
He's just useful overall, but when you think about how Consulate is generally played and how quintessential these like extended bunkers that you need to set up are to your success or failure as a defensive team, not having Jaeger to immediately dissipate a large majority of the nade pressure is a huge loss. So in a lot of ways, BDS might be feeling the need now. It's like, okay, wait, that didn't really work out in the last round. We didn't have the nade mitigation to be able to counter out the pressure from Team 1, so we need to bring WoMai back into the fold here.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little easier to hold down the fortress when the artillery isn't landing, right? So for BDS, we'll see how this is going to work out for them, but I completely agree with you. That's another layer as well to build on top of that with deployable shields and those setups as well, and the way that you're able to get rid of those very, very easily without Jaeger in play. Obviously, they could possibly have some things to counter those out, but we really haven't seen that out of BDS just yet, or Team 1. But we're about 45 seconds into round 8 here now, folks, and Team 1 currently handling things from the east side. A straightforward take here as they're trying to handle this top floor.
Definitely a slow process for Team 1, though, considering how many members of BDS are out and about, and more importantly, remaining mobile in these positions here. So Drone Intel has a very quick expiry time. We're going to see the benefit here now of bringing the WoMai to the table. Those flashes much more easily to get out of the way of not going to open up an immediate path of attack for Alamau or anyone else on Team 1. A little bit of a double take there, but thankfully KDS didn't seem to catch him either, as Alamau, or excuse me, we'll be able to see BDS pick up the kill against KDS right there and get themselves off to a good start on this 8th defensive round.
This is a Spider-Man meme right there, just pointing at each other like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be here. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, KDS will lose his life pretty early on here, but still some opportunities around for Team 1. I mean, we still have Alamau working the suicide balcony, as well as the rest of the squad, mostly centralized around vending as well as short desk here. So we'll have to see exactly what they want to do with this space now, but they still have to worry about a few BDS members, most notably Shaiiko inside of Connector, but Elemzje is also going to lose his life as well.
That's Levy picking up the trade right there, bringing us back down on even terms between these two teams. Shaiiko very patiently waiting for the rest of the aggression to work its way in, but he also hears some of the interesting stuff that's going on back out towards long desk, knows that for a fact that someone from Team 1 has snuck their way over there, so it needs to be very cautious of that. That angle is going to be much more of an immediate threat to him than the others. So we'll continue to wait for that potential push here. Neskin, so close to baiting into it too, but backs away once again, regroups with his teammate to make the lobby push instead. We're coming down to those final 40 to 30 seconds here, and it's looking like Team 1 definitely wants to prioritize the take here and leave a few players on rappel to make sure that the upstairs players are not able to completely decimate them from the top downs.
Lots of problems right now, especially with Shaiiko's positioning. They didn't deal with this, and he's going to be able to abuse a lot of different things out here now, but he's actually going to get tagged up, be able to get back inside, but now before BDS light up the kill feed, they're going to be able to get a couple of their own frags, at least for Team 1's sake, but now Levy's going to go down inside of Piano. Alamau's positioning, unbeknownst to all of us, is now currently swinging into, I believe, anti-chamber, and yes, it is. He's swung in, pistol out, he'll get taken down from Shaiiko up top, and that's going to be the miscalculation from Team 1.
Just far too much left undealt with in that second floor hold there for BDS. Team 1, unfortunately, not with any choice, though, considering how late into the round they were getting. They had to go for an execute. Maybe could have played around with trying to clear things out upstairs for another like 10 to 20 seconds, but that's semantics.
They should have
just
pushed the sludge upstairs, I'll be completely honest with you. He should have handled that positioning up top. That not handling that player is extremely ill-advised. Especially because they're even trying to plant inside of circle. You're trying to plant inside a lobby, whether it be the front of lobby or the back of lobby. That hatch directly counters everything that you're doing. So the fact that they went through that unchecked, that's just not acceptable for Team 1.
All right, well, for Team 1, could cost them in a big way here as we've been reset to the very same deficit we started the half out with. Both teams continuing to trade rounds back and forth, showcasing just how close these matchups can be here at the Major. BDS, though, already with some success earlier. Want to keep that going, see if they can get themselves a strong 2-0 day here. And day number 1 of their group, Team 1 as well, still have to face off against the Sonics later on today.
Yes, they do. Lots of action still to be had, guys. I'm loving this double round robin as well. It just feels so good to be able to see all of these teams play and see how they stack up against this competition from across the globe. Very, very cool to finally have everybody inside of the same building again. Obviously, the casters as well. We're very, very excited to be here.
Quite literally all in the same building.
Yeah, quite literally all in the same building. It feels fantastic. So either way, though, about 10 seconds out from round 9 popping off. BDS 1 round away from reaching that 6th round that we all know and love so very well. Or Team 1 could possibly get in the way of that. Haven't had too many adjustments on their offense just yet. Obviously still going to be bringing the double hard breach. They weren't doing that before. Alamau was on the IQ, but just not for that previous round.
All right, well, let's see once again what the opening antics are going to be, specifically for Team 1. They've got a lot of potential options for them, specifically admin is just open for the taking right now if they'd like to swing up there and get in very early on, but obviously might be a bit ill-advised when you consider we are once again going to be on the second floor site, and there could be a bit of aggression from BDS to counter that and kind of trap those players inside of admin, making them unable to do anything until their teammates take additional control. Save from that, though, we are going to see players start working into that position, but they won't be alone. There's also going to be some pressure on Visa downstairs, as well as quite a bit of repel support, as we can see in the form of Elemzje.BDS there.
Okay, well, in the beginning still, obviously, so it's into the drone phase, as we like to call it, info gathering to make sure that the east side of the map is completely clear, as they'll get Neskin in the building. KDS more than likely soon to follow, as Elemzje will just hold the crosses here for paper. He'll be swinging inside as well, but they've got everything necessary in order to deal with positions like Elemzje here, as, well, I believe we saw some things get burned up there for just a split second, but I could be wrong about that. Either way, though, we're going to see Team 1 starting to set things up on this side of the map, most notably with Elemzje's kit. He'll start breaking down walls and setting up angles to restrict BDS.
Lem's continuing to patiently wait for any bout of aggression from Team 1 through the balcony windows. Neskin grouping up with one of his teammates as well to make the play through bending. Flashes are out. They feel committed to go for this one. They're still going to have to burn out the RaFaLe gate further down the hallway, and unfortunately the job is not accomplished. Might have been trying to deal with another form of utility sitting closer towards the rotated cell.
There was an evil eye on the long desk.
So there we go. That's going to deal with that. Elemzje continuing to wait, though. Still has not been pressured, but that's going to be broiling out towards him very, very soon, as we can see pretty much everyone from Team 1 sitting at this vending and connector threshold, ready to move forward, but just no kill to really prompt that as of yet. More than likely looking for the pick onto Elemzje before they thrust themselves into the site here. But there's a lot more to deal with off the site. Lagonis is going to fall of all people. I believe that's the balcony player, and that's going to be the case going down on the ground as well. Someone will have to rotate out around to be able to pick that back up and maybe save Lagonis, but with only 46 seconds left, they might just have to make this play as aggressively as they can. Elemzje swinging forward, looking for the opponent inside a projector, but where did he go? He's gone. No! He's completely left. Elemzje completely outwits and outplays Elemzje there, taking him down, bringing us to only 30 seconds. Still no sign of a rescue for Lagonis or the case that he was carrying. It's all falling to pieces for Team 1 right now.
Oh man, this is just going so terribly wrong. KDS getting lit up, Lagonis still down outside, and KDS falter. Levy, the only one remaining now, is he'll be able to at least get one, but BDS hop 2 and long desk and take him down. This is just a master class on console defense right now.
Once again, BDS showing such strong form, specifically on this defensive side. Definitely some shaky moments in the first half on the attack, but they are bringing it home in a strong shape here for the second half on their defense. Just like we were seeing against CAG, this is looking like a very dangerous BDS, if this is any indication of how they're going to play against the rest of the teams outside of their group.
Yeah, BDS's pacing right now, I think, is the thing that stands out to me the most. Their understanding of what Team 1 wants to do and how they can counteract that with maybe not peeking or doing this and doing that. It's damn near perfect, especially inside of that round we see it. They're able to get the pick on Suicide Balcony. And as you said, Lagonis has to just sit out there and bleed out for the entirety of the round. You can't get the case, you can't do anything. And somebody has to repel to go get him. So instead they go for the frags. They double down on that. They're like, listen, we'll just go try and find the people and get the kills. And that doesn't work either. BDS back everybody off once they get that knockdown on Suicide Balcony, and instead play for the angle play, force Team 1 forward, and they lose because of that.
We're going to see a quick change up here for Team 1. They'll bring a Twitch into the fold, interestingly enough, for
Elemzje
this
said,
upcoming
screw
round.
it, we're getting the F2. Somebody's got to die, and if I have to do it, I will.
There's probably going to be some use out of the actual drone as well. You could see at a midpoint that round, Stokes mentioned there, they were getting slowed down because of an evil eye and some other pieces of utility that was blocking the way to where the large majority of the BDS players were stacking out. So maybe they're hoping they can use this Twitch drone and probably leverage a little bit of that utility earlier on by sneaking it out. Twitch drone is not a very common pick in the meta right now, so not necessarily going to expect it, although it was revealed, so BDS will know it's there.
Yeah, you know, and the biggest thing when it comes to Twitch overall for the meta and how she's kind of worked her way in is like, she's kind of that flex pick, and the beauty of her kit overall is not only the Twitch drones, because you can get some really, really good traction with them nowadays since they're not limited to the amount of shocks that you have. They're just on a timing-based thing. They're on cooldowns. But apart from that, she also has smokes, which is great to bring into lineups and deny LOS. It's something that we don't see happen a crazy amount of time in Siege, but it definitely happens often enough to be pointed out.
The smokes are honestly the biggest change up here, because there's been a lot of situations where Team 1 is sat at a threshold, ready to execute at a moment's notice, but just didn't have any clear path forward. It needed some type of entry or pick to be able to do that. Smokes are going to make that a little bit easier, as they'll have a bit more confidence to push through that. Their opponents won't have clear shots against them anymore as they run through those angles.
Absolutely, my friend. And, you know, it's pretty worrisome right now for Team 1 because this is looking like the end of the road. Unless we see something change inside of this round that's very different. We can't see some slight adjustments like, oh, they kind of got by with the round. We need to see everything to come to fruition in this moment. And it starts off with this. KDS so aggressive up yellow. That angle grip surely assisting him out of the sprint to take down Elemzje.
Big problem, though. He lost nearly all of his HP. There is a great reaction from Elemzje, so KDS more likely not going to be able to continue in the same fashion that he just did to pick up that kill. I don't have double drone support on his way up the stairs this time either, so more than likely someone else, hopefully Alamau, going to be able to pick that up instead and try to throw greater regression. The good news, though, is there's no... Oh, man, I jinxed it. I mean, I was going to say there's no sign of a trade, but never mind. And, man, it's a window kill, too. I just feel bad about that now.
Oh,
I definitely made that happen. But either way, Lagonis will fall. Brings us back into a 4v4 once again as BDS continue to show us their capability to trade out in the mid-round and completely stop any small amount of progress the Team 1 is able to make.
Do you know how many Brazilians you just pissed off?
My Twitter's going to blow up in a second.
So many. It's, oh, man, I don't even know what to say to you. I should probably, like, move my chair slightly. I don't really know. But either way, though,
I swear
BDS,
it wasn't on purpose.
Are you sure? Are you positive?
As far as I'm aware.
All right, well, fair enough. But BDS still in the driver's seat here, although KDS, very sneaky. He's going to crouch walk his way in. One that we're all used to when it comes down to it. Oh, no, the Vector's just such a solid gun, guys. So difficult on such low HP. With the amount of bullets getting sent your way, you're more than likely not going to win that one out. Levy, though, speaking of winning things out, takes one down with the ARX. Alamau follows through with one, and Neskin with the other. And where, out of nowhere, BDS do what they were doing the entire time. They get things set up, they go for their swings, but this time, Team 1's ready for it.
Well, I've hopefully been spared by the Brazilian community now since they ended up winning that round. But yeah, Team 1,
the guillotine was just slowly coming down.
I don't really... So the big thing there is I'm not even really sure how Team 1 was able to transition themselves down into the basement, but they just had so much solid control going for themselves in those final few seconds.
All of a sudden we hop on board.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
KDS
we switch over to it, and it just seems like all of a sudden like these guys have gotten full control inside of Cafeteria, and there's no one from BDS in the neighborhood because they're still out there doing their roam game on the first and second floor. They have to try and come back, but unfortunately the rotates are way too predictable, and Team 1 shut it down. Really good stuff. However, they were able to catch an opening to get into basement so scot-free. I mean, that was what won them the round right there.
Listen,
so
man,
brilliant
sometimes
stuff.
you just gotta walk in.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you gotta crouch it out. That's how it is, you know? Listen, it works all the time in my ranked games. Why wouldn't it work now? Just saying.
True. Rank is a great indicator for pro play, as we all know. So.
Yes, absolutely. It's actually the highest tier of play, you know? And apart from that, champions lose to silvers. This is how it is. Silvers are actually the best in the game, so...
Feeling good about myself. Anyway.
I think Des would be happy with me as well.
We'll see if Team 1...
I give lessons, Des. I give lessons in case you hear this. So if you need some help, just let me know. I don't mind playing on 150 ping.
We'll see if Team 1 can continue to rebound here. 2 more rounds, and they'll be able to trigger OT. Just as a quick reminder, folks, we are at a major, but we are not going to infinite overtime just yet. That will be conserved for a grand final best of 5, as is usually the case. So we'll just be the normal 3 rounds of overtime here and now until we get later on into the tournament. Either way, Team 1 still need to pick up 2 more attacking rounds to even get to that overtime. So let's see if they can make the job happen. Definitely much more consistent placement there in the early round, putting a lot of additional pressure onto BDS. More importantly, keeping the trades up, not falling apart as we saw 2 to 3 rounds back after the unfortunate loss of Lagonis on the balcony. They had to then rotate away some of their attackers to pick up the case, and things just continued to go poorly from that point forward. It was unfortunate, but already rebounding the round after that. Maybe still leaving a possibility for overtime in the cards, but BDS, with their strong defensive holds, might make that a difficult task. There's going to be an interesting attack here from Team 1. Looks like the large majority of the team, at least 3 of them, are going to be starting to work their way in, first through the garage opening.
Yes, indeed, and see how this one wants to go, starting to break things up here. I believe they're popping the hatch from underneath right now, and yes, indeed, they are. RaFaLe's probably like, hey, they're popping the hatch right now. I don't really know what's going on, but they got garage control, so I can't play here anymore. I'm gonna transition to the other side of the bathroom here, and you cannot blame him in the slightest. And also, apart from that, you guys have to remember, Team 1 is used to the road less traveled. If we flash back to Team 1 up against G2, what happened there? 5-1 is what starts off for G2. We end up in OT, and Team 1 takes it. It's stuff like that you have to expect out of these guys. They are never counted out at any moment in time. Great shot shot there from Alamal, though, that will take down Renshiro inside of CEO.
Bit of a weird bit of aggression from Renshiro right there. Just dashes across. Might have had pressure from another angle that forced him out of the other position, but runs right into his opponent's crosshair there, giving him a good loss of about half of his HP right from the bat, and then tries to take the fight unsuccessfully. So that's a free one going over to Team 1 here. No sign of a trade. Fingers crossed. Okay, we're good.
The 5-second grace period. We're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
No sign of a trade just as of yet here from the folks over on Team 1, or excuse me, over on the side of BDS. But BDS taking the passive route right now in order to try to get the W for themselves. Keep in mind they are on match point. All they need to do is run down this last minute, and a 4v5 is very, very workable in Siege terms, assuming no other players on BDS try to get over aggressive and end up losing their life without being traded themselves, or someone else just ends up getting caught in the open, as we saw there with Renshiro a few moments ago.
Okay, well, KDS, stealth once again here. I'll be playing the wrong Tom Clancy title, my friend. We're looking like Splinter Cell now than anything, but Levy makes sure to change my mind on that. He'll take down BriD inside of console. Great hold here on yellow, still have to worry about Shaiiko as well. He'll take down one, and this is fantastic for BDS, continuing to hold on to this map control. This is something that's been a big talking point from across a lot of regions, and one of the things that LATAM is truly amazing at, but BDS doing it extremely well currently. He'll finally get taken down as he transitions back into piano. Neskin will take him, but only 10 seconds remaining now. They need a case plan, and where is it going to go down? Looks like they want to try and prioritize console here, and oh no, they're gonna wait out the timer. Elemzje, you big brain mother trucker. Oh my gosh, he gets them both, and Elemzje gets it done. Nobody worrying about the top floor, and once again, they lose out from not handling projector.
BDS continuing to dominate in their group here at the Mexico Major. 2 wins in a row for them to start out the tournament, and what a way to end it in the final round. This one certainly closer than the Cyclops match. Great fight.